Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Justice League Task Force Aquaman. This is based off the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis video game from the 90's. And this Aquaman looks kind of ridiculous. We have the obvious video game pixelization, but his hair is just flowing like he's in the water, and it looks a little overdramatic. Honestly, it looks like you just popped this figure into a fish tank or aquarium, and he would look right in there. But it's an interesting look. It's hard to explain. I think he looks dumb, but it's also kind of cool at the same time. Like, it's so bad that it's good type of thing. I pre this guy for the McFarlane toy store. He arrived today, so let's take a look at the package. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts. McFarlane Toys. Ages 12 plus. DC Multiverse Aquaman. This is the third of 4 figures you need to complete Darkseid. Here he's the package. We have his trident, collector's card, display stand, a couple of energy effects, and then Darkseid's hands and head. One side of the package, Aquaman from Justice League Task Force. Other side, Aquaman. At the bottom, there's his barcode if that helps anybody. And at the back, here's an image from the game. Here's the piece you get with Aquaman. Here's instructions how to build Darkseid. Here's the rest of the wave. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And I did get the entire wave from the McFarlane Toy Store. Utilized the bundle discount, the coupon code, my platinum membership discount, and I paid $86 even after shipping taxes. That is significantly cheaper than it would be even at retail. Now each of these figures has a platinum chase variant. I'm on the hunt for each of them and 2 of Batman. If anybody has a lead on where I can get one for a reasonable price or can possibly help me out, please drop me a line in the comments below. There's actually a platinum version of Darkseid if you get all 4 of the platinums. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all of his accessories laid out. We have a display stand, a collector's card, 2 energy effects for his hands or feet, and then his trident. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Aquaman, based off the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis video game Justice League Task Force. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. His hair. So, I think it looks kind of stupid. I've seen people describe it as majestic. It's, I guess, supposed to be his hair sort of floating while he's underwater, and I guess kudos to McFarlane for trying something new, but I think it came out kind of stupid. I've seen people describe him as like Fabio looking. It just looks kind of dumb. And like I said, kudos to McFarlane for trying something new, but I don't think they succeeded. It just looks weird. I kind of even get Medusa vibes off this guy. And the face, it looks okay, but just the hair wrapped all around him, and his eyebrows are brown, the hair's like orange or blonde. It just doesn't look right. And I do like the color scheme on his outfit. You can see the scaly sort of texture, and it's a darker orange, and it's pixelated, but in a way that sort of makes sense or looks okay in a suit. Now the pixelation here just looks kind of weird. It's based on video games, so the pixelation is fine, but this should be a variant, not the initial release. I like his belt. He has a little A logo on it, little fins on the back, kind of like on his arms as well. I like the scales, double jointed elbows, and knees. This is really the only part of the pixelation that bothers me, is this right here. This looks okay. It's a light orange, medium orange, dark orange, and even a brown. The hair, I'm not even sure what to say. I get it. It does look like maybe it's sort of flowing in the water. And I've seen people say this Aquaman looked cool in an aquarium. And you know what? He would. But who's going to buy a $25 figure just to show in an aquarium? Well, okay, probably lots of people, but still. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. Face is okay. He looks a little bit angry with the eyebrows and the sort of mouth. The hair is just flowing. It's like it's supposed to be underwater. That's why it's kind of going up as well. And I said this, kudos to McFarlane for trying something new, but I don't think they succeeded. It just looks weird. Maybe it's because of the color, and maybe it's because of the video game that's colored this way. It just looks weird. Shouldn't his eyebrows be the same color as the hair? I guess the drapes don't match the curtains. Now let's check out his accessories. Starting off with the boring stuff. And who am I kidding? It's all boring stuff. His accessories are pretty much garbage. We have a display stand, typical McFarlane display stand we've seen countless times before. Then we have his collector's card, Aquaman, swimming right toward you, Aquaman from Justice League Task Force on the back. There's some stats, if you want to read that, pause now. Then we have these two energy effects. They're cast in a semi-transparent, rubbery type material. They go around his fists or his feet and sort of have energy kicking motions. And then we have the trident, done in a crappy yellow color, kind of bendable. It's going to get warped over time. Definitely looks like a trident we've seen before, but I really don't like the color. And I get it's based off the theme of the figures, which is video game, sort of basic retro coloring. Here's Aquaman, utilizing those energy effects. If they were done in light blue, you can kind of imagine it being like a water punch. Here's Aquaman holding his trident, which he can hold with one hand or with two. Now I wanted to check out the reuse and differences between this Justice League Task Force Aquaman and the Endless Winter version, which is what I consider the most normal or default version out there. So obviously the heads are totally different. Now, I wanted to look at the actual heads. And yeah, this guy has a beard, this guy doesn't. I was wondering if maybe they just put different hair on top of an existing head. You can see they have the same collar, the same scales, both in the abs and the chest area, the arms, down to the hands, even the little fin, it's all the same. Looks like the diaper's different belt, and the legs and feet are also the same. So it is 100% the same figure, different diaper, different head, different paint job. We now have 6 figures utilizing the same base body, and if we wanted to take it one step further, these 2 Aquaman figures use the same legs. Now that we've checked out his accessories, let's take a look at his height. From bottom to the top of his head. The top of his head is staying about 7 inches tall. Top of his hair, about 7.5 inches tall. And for his articulation, starting with his head, of course, it can rotate side to side. You can look up, not much, down quite a bit, the hair obstructing a little bit. Can tilt his head, at least to that one side. Shoulders and ball joint goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees, up, down, around. He's got this butterfly ring between his shoulder and chest, increasing the range of motion and covering the large gap that would be there. Bicep cut, double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's hinged as well. Ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back. Between the two, pretty good range of motion in the torso area. Legs completely does splits, McFarlane style hip joints, rotation. It's minimal, but there. Legs go forward that far, back not much. Double jointed knees, and his ankle, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and toe articulation. Here's a look at this Aquaman swimming through the waters of Atlantis. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Aquaman figures. Here he is, next to a couple of McFarlane comic Aquaman figures. We have the Justice League Endless Winter on the left, and the classic version on the right. The Justice League Endless Winter is a good modern Aquaman. It's just a normal, all-purpose Aquaman. It's my favorite one for the line. And here he is, next to a couple more comic book Aquaman figures. We have Flashpoint on the left, and the more majestic Page Puncher on the right. And here, next to a couple of JLA Aquaman figures, with their hooks for hands and all their 90's goodness. Then, next to a couple of Jason Momoa DC Cinematic Universe Aquaman figures. Here, look at all the different McFarlane DC Multiverse Aquaman figures. We have 12 so far. Still need to track down the Platinum Chase of this Justice League Task Force version. And that'll make 13. I'm not aware of any on the upcoming leaked lists, but I'm sure we'll get more. Here he is, next to a Noble Toys bendy figure Aquaman. And here he is, with my DC Direct Aquaman figures. Then, with my Mattel Aquaman figures. Here's a look at all the Aquaman figures in my collection. There are plenty I'm missing by both Mattel and DC Direct, but it's a pretty nice collection nonetheless. And here he is, next to McFarlane's Aqualad. Here he is, next to some McFarlane Aquaman allies. We have his Octopus Topo and his Seahorse Storm. Here are all the different Aquaman villains. 3 versions of Black Manta, Sunken Citadel Pirate, King Cordax, and 2 versions of the Ocean Master. Now let's check him out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the rest of his wave. Flash, Batman, Aquaman, and Superman collective build Darkseid, all from the 90's Justice League Task Force game. These are great representations of the 90's characters. If they had regular paint jobs without the pixelation, they'd be an awesome 90's Justice League team. Although I'd rather have Aquaman with a different head. Hopefully in the future, they'll release the same wave in regular painted colors. Here's Aquaman next to the Platinum Chase variant of the Lee Bermejo Noel Batman. And here he is, next to the Batman Beyond Batman that came with the Batmobile and the GameStop exclusive Frostbite Nightwing. Then, with the Planet Ron Swamp Thing Mega figure. And now, with the Quarter Valves 3-pack, this is an Amazon exclusive. Here's Aquaman next to the McFarlane Toy Store exclusive Brave Fogel Batman. And here he is, next to the Batman vs Superman wave. All 3 versions of the Armored Batman, Wonder Woman, Doomsday, both versions of Superman, and both versions of the Nightmare Batman. Then, next to the Zack Snyder's Justice League Darkseid Mega figure, this is the armored version with Throne. And now, next to the 8th wave of McFarlane Collector's Edition figures, we have both the regular and Platinum Chase variants of Lightning Lad, Simon Paw's Green Lantern, Geoforce, and Grid. The regular version of Mr. Terrific. I currently have 9 of the 12 figures in this wave. Still need the Platinum Mr. Terrific, and both versions of the Chris Reeve Superman. And finally, here he is, next to the 3rd wave of digital figures. Speed Force Flash, Earth 2 Robin, and both versions of the Joker. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane toy, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work my smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack-specific wrestling figures, and some Diamond Select toys, here's Aquaman next to a chocolate chip cookie. And here he is, with some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. Next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, it's a cool Aquaman figure. I kind of like the color scheme on the scale part of his body. The pixelation is annoying, but like I said, I kind of like it on the top half. But his hair, it's just weird. Kudos McFarlane for trying something new, but I don't think you succeeded. I mean, it does look like hair floating in the water, but I think it looks just kind of dumb. And in some ways, it's so bad that it's good. It's hard to explain. It's visually interesting, visually sort of pleasing, but also kind of ridiculous. His accessories, Trident's okay, but really it's just a bunch of junk. His articulation is everything you'd expect. Sculpt and paint job, pretty good. Just depends on if you like the hair or not. If I were to rate this figure, first thought is 6 out of 10. And I kind of want to bump it up, but I'm going to leave it at 6 out of 10. Now, what would make him have a higher rating would be no pixelization. Even with his hair, that would give him a higher rating. And then if head swap him to a normal guy, he could easily be an 8 out of 10 with those 2 items addressed. Still, there's something intriguing and kind of appealing about the hair at the same time. Like I said before, I hope in 6 months or a year they make the same wave in comic accurate paint jobs. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to save the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.